Guys, welcome back to today's video. So what we have for today is error types on Excel. So we have different types of error, but today on this video I will only take the 5 of them. So we have the div error, the division error, the NA error, not available. So the div error is when you try to divide a particular numeric value by 0, so you get a div error. Then it's not available when a formula or function inside a formula cannot find the reference data. That is, you are trying to get the Excel is trying to get a data from a particular cell reference, but it's not actually getting it, so it will prompt the NA error. So the name error, if you wrongly type a particular function, you want to type a function and you type the incorrect name, you didn't get the name correctly, so you get the name error. So I'll go with the example so you guys can understand what I'm trying to say. So the null error is when you have a space in between your formulas. When you are supposed in a formula, you are supposed to have a comma and you use space instead, you use white spaces instead of a comma, so that's when you get the null error. So for the value error, this is when you use when you are supposed to add an argument, or you eventually skipped it, or you didn't add the argument correctly. So let me go with the example. So for the div error, when you try to, let's say we want to divide equals 400 divided by 0, so we get div error. So we cannot divide when you are trying to divide by 0. That's normal math error, so that's div error. So for the NA, I already have a formula, although we are not yet on VLOOKUP, so I'll just try to go walk you through with this formula. So with this function, I mean, so from this function, I'm asking telling the spreadsheet to look for this value 10 in this particular table, in this particular array, this table column. So this is look for this number. You're getting, you should see the convert. Okay, so he's looking for this 10 in this array that is painted in red. So it is looking for it in this array. Then I want you to give me the value of it in this column 4, and it should be approximate. So here, as if you are going to check, so let's try to click enter. It will give not available error because this 10 is not in this array, so it cannot find this 10 in this array. So that's the reason why it is giving out that error. So adding it is another value in this array, it will get the value out. So it cannot find it couldn't find the 10 that I'm trying to look for in this array. So that's why it pop out the NA error. So for the name error, so if you are trying to use a particular function, let's say you want to use VLOOKUP, let's go with the VLOOKUP again. You're trying to, okay, so let me say instead of 2O, I put 3O. Look, so look up. So I now check, let me just say okay, so can you see it doesn't understand this formula? So you said name error, so you couldn't get what that formula is, so that is why it pop out the name error. So if you are trying to use a particular function and you didn't get, you see that you get a name error, okay, you should know that something is wrong with your function you're trying to call. So for the null error, so let me copy this formula. So when you have a space within your formula, let's see. So when I have, instead of comma, I went ahead to put space. So let's click enter. Can you see I get null error because instead of comma that was supposed to be here, supposed to separate, there should be a delimiter instead of should be a comma delimiter here instead of the space. So I use spaces instead. I use space instead. So that's so for the value error, okay, let's use this formula again. So let's use this function again. I mean, so if here instead we let me add back the comma. So here we remove, we are supposed to add a column index. So we decided not to add it. So if we eventually, maybe you are typing, you are doing your calling your function on Excel, and you forgot to put in this particular argument, this column index, and you just press enter, so you get, you know, let's see, so you get in so you get, okay, let me put it in here instead. Why is it giving me, it should give me this value error. Let me copy this back. So, okay, so I was supposed to add just one comma. So here, so now we get the value error. So here you're supposed to put a column, and we, instead of putting one column, we just put in the wrong one. So we are supposed to start, our column supposed to start from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here I put another wrong argument here, so this is why it's giving me value error.